If you don't mind, I think we're just going to hop right into it. I want to respect your time.
Okay.
Be about 30 minutes or so.
Okay.
I just want to hear about your experience teaching, how you got involved with BizWorld, what you're up to today, all those sort of things.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Okay. But first, let's talk about my book, since
Love
that's
it,
your
please.
lovely, that's your expertise is advertising. And
Absolutely.
this is my little creation that I'm so proud of. I self-published
Wonderful.
this little book. It's about
Congratulations.
twins Annie and Sammy who
Mm,
love to make messes, but they turn their mess-making skills into touching hearts with kindness.
wonderful.
So it's been approved by the Semnani organization that is about acts of kindness, one act of kindness a day, and they use it as curriculum too. So I'm thrilled with
Really?
that. Yes,
Amazing. What's the organization that is approved through?
it's called Semnani, Semnani.
Simnani.
It's yeah. So
And it's being used as curriculum also. What inspired you to sort of write the book, Sherry?
the book was inspired by my students. I taught school for about 15 years. And one of the projects I did was have them put an art project. They put their fingerprints on the art.
Uh,
But then their goal was to do a kind act and leave the art someplace. And then after that, they wrote about it in a personal narrative. So I have all of their accounts of their acts of kindness. Some left
uh,
their fingerprints at the fire station, some at the police station, some under pillows at their mom and dad's house, some in a bag of folded clothes,
mm,
some some everywhere, neighbors everywhere, walking dogs. And
oh my
that's
gosh.
really what inspired this story. I just kept thinking about kids need to do more service, more acts of kindness, get beyond themselves and learn to help other people. That's really what BizWorld is all about too. It's moving and helping the world with new businesses and generating ideas and problem solving. It's a great program. I really love BizWorld.
Oh,
And
to hear
my
that.
students really love BizWorld too. I taught primarily fourth graders,
Uh-huh.
and they were uh, so excited to do the BizWorld program. It started when I was a student teacher back in about 1998. I had been working at a game. I was working as a game designer, and I decided to go back into education and
Okay.
finish up my credential and get my administrative credential. But I worked as a designer for games like Oregon Trail and Carmen Sandiego with the Learning Company.
Oh,
And so that also influenced the way I taught my students too, because I really
okay.
believed in simulations. And that's what BizWorld is. It's a simulated game to help kids learn. And so when my husband heard about Tim Draper and his advertising this new program on the radio, I contacted them and they had somebody come out to my class and teach my class BizWorld. And that was my first introductory to BizWorld. And my
Mm,
students loved it and they grew from it. And I saw the beauty of it, not only to teach um, just collaboration, which is a lifelong skill that everybody needs to learn, and problem solving. So it was a great way to start my class sometimes in the fall
mm, mm.
because they learn to work together, learn to get to know each other, and yet we also did it as an after school program. We called it Biz Club. The students that had this, it was one of the things I think I did uniquely was that it was a student-led program. So
Okay.
students that had been through the program one year, they taught the program the next year. They were the leaders of the Biz Club the next year. And
Oh,
so
wow.
they taught the course. And I think when someone can teach a subject and help others learn it, it's cemented in their life forever. They can really use it forever. And so that was the way we ran our Biz Club. And then I also taught it at summer school in a 4-week session, and I had students come back and help mentor students in that session too. And we used a lot of what I love about and advertised on the BizWorld side is STEAM. And it does incorporate science and technology and engineering and art and math in the whole program. So it encourages students to do all of those things. When we taught it in summer school, the students spent the first week getting to know each other, planning, designing their product. The second week was spent in designing websites so that they could market their product. And then, of course, they had to have content for their website. So the third week was using apps to create movies and commercials.
Advertisements,
Yeah,
commercials.
commercials for their website. And so that was all on there. And then the final week was just wrapping everything up, preparing to show all of that information that they'd done, all of their all of the things that they'd produced and have it in a bazaar for their parents and anyone else in the community that wanted to come to their sale. And so it was a lot of fun. I forgot I needed to put on my string things hat because that's really the kids that started, they were able to be part of the Riskmaster's luncheon, and
Sure.
they created a business called String Things.
Okay.
And they won the luncheon contest at BizWorld. And because of that, they gave our school $1,000. And so they were the ones that really, I said, what do you want to do with some of this money? And they, of course, wanted to give it to the school, but they said, we also want to start a biz club and help other kids get involved with this program because we love it so much. And we want to mentor it. We want to run it. It was really all of their idea. I was just the supporter and advocate for them. And so anyway, string things. And when they were part of the Riskmasters luncheon, they were amazing. They weren't just making wristbands with string. They made bookmarks. They made shoelaces with string. They made snowballs. It was around the holiday time, and they wrapped string around balloons that was glue, and they made snowballs for Christmas ornaments.
Well,
They made all kinds of things. So they didn't want to just limit themselves to friendship baskets. That's why they said String Things is our name because we make everything out of string and we can make all kinds of products that people will want to buy. They even made little purses. One little girl crocheted, and so she made little small purses for people to
versus.
give for Chinese New Year and red purses. I was very impressed with their creativity, and I that's what BizWorld does. It helps kids problem solve and think outside the box, and that's what we need in business. We need it everywhere. So
Amazing, amazing, Sherry. So much. Thank you for sharing all these stories. I appreciate
sure.
it so greatly, right? That starting in, like you said, maybe it was like around 1998 when you were first a student teacher, and then, a little
Yeah,
time after your husband heard a commercial on the radio about Tim Draper starting BizWorld, and that
correct.
you related to it because it was this simulation game to teach students, and you come from the gaming industry, right? You already
Mhm.
understood simulations,
Right.
and that's what really drew it to you. And wow, how exciting that you taught it in your class. You love that it's STEAM focused. It taught collaboration and problem solving, and great. I love to hear that you started teaching in the fall semester, right? To get your students to come together. We hear
Yeah,
more and more that teachers are doing that because it builds your whole classroom into this team environment. And then
it
for the
does.
entire rest of the year, now everybody works together better, right? They communicate, problem solve better.
It, it's so much fun for them, and it really does bring everything together. So I don't know what other
Amazing.
questions you have.
I have a handful, but like I said, I just appreciate you sharing this. And what a cool story about, and then you still have this hat about string things, right?
Yeah,
That this group, they actually got to go to the annual Riskmaster Luncheon, right, where we invite a handful of different schools to come and participate and do a demonstration of what the visual program is, right, and do one of these mini sales expos, sales
right.
bazaars. And they
Yeah,
won. And like how great that their creativity wasn't just to make the friendship bracelets, which is sort of like the main product, right, that's taught in the
yeah,
BizWorld
it's the
Pro
start.
program, right?
It's
But
the
then
start.
they got to be more creative, right? They got to
Absolutely.
expand and do other things.
And that's what business is. You have to think out of the box. You have to be
Sure.
competitive. You have
Yeah.
to reach out to people and learn all of those skills to be able to sell your products. So,
So
and
true,
I'm
so
living
true.
that with my sweet little book that I wrote.
With your book, exactly. You are a perfect role model for these students, honestly, to show that you don't have to even like this world doesn't teach that you have to be an entrepreneur, right? It teaches the skills that you could even have like a side venture, or even just like you said, right, teaching you collaboration and problem solving for in your day-to-day jobs.
Well, we used the model to create a news club at our school, which I ran to where they do journalism and write stories instead of just using the math and STEAM. They extended their learning to be able to write about it because that's important too. Any business needs good. That's part of your business in advertising is that you have to be a good writer and
Yeah,
storyteller.
yeah,
So
me too.
we extended that model in lots of different ways, and I feel like Tim Draper has done the world a wonderful thing for children all over the world, and I'd really love to encourage a lot of teachers to use it because I think it's a great model. So
Thank you so much. Um, Wonderful. Like I can't ask you for anything more. Thank you. And like
really,
thank you for saying that totally unprompted, and it just comes so genuine. I
it's,
greatly appreciate
no,
it. Sherry, I wanted
it's
to hear a little bit more about you and like your teaching experience. How long were you teaching for? I think you said primarily fourth grade. What subjects? Tell us just a little bit more about that.
right. Well, when you teach elementary school, I have a master's in educational technology. So I went through the program to learn about web design and everything. I always use technology with my students. I think it's important in this day of age. And it's changing so rapidly too every time. You have to stay on top of that.
Yeah.
But I taught for about 14 years. I entered late after my children were pretty much grown, but I was the first to graduate from college. I went back to school as an adult later,
Congratulations. Yeah.
and so I uh, worked with students. I also have a minor in music, and I worked with students in uh, a variety of ways. But I always ran different after school programs too, in addition to my teaching during the regular workday.
Yeah.
And part of that was Biz Club, part of it was News Club. I
Wonderful.
also ran peacemakers at our school so that children could learn to help other children solve problems on the
Great.
playground and things.
What? Oh, that's wonderful. Peacemaker to help children learn how to solve problems on the playground
Yeah.
specifically. That's such a great initiative.
And
What
again,
first? Go ahead. Sorry.
that was student led as also because I love when students take leadership and have a desire to be in charge of their learning. It's not just about moms and dads and teachers trying to encourage students to learn, but when they learn to love learning themselves, it changes their world. That's one thing that happened. One of the things I'll have to share real quick is my class got a grant to go to BizWorld at Chevron. One of the things that Tim does is offer grants through some of the people that he works with. And Chevron let some of my students go to their site to do a BizWorld program one year.
Yeah.
And one of the girls was really had a hard time learning, but her team voted her as president of the company. And I was worried for her because I thought, Oh, she's, excuse me. Hope you can edit that out.
Yeah, no stress.
I thought that she would, she would not do well. And when it came time for her to approach a venture capitalist with her finance director, she just radiated. She showed confidence and abilities that I hadn't ever seen in her. And BizWorld, I believe, really helped change her life. And it helped her grow as a person. And after that, she seemed to do so much better in school and started thriving. And I was just so grateful for that one little opportunity for a little girl that was challenged. And then one little boy, when I retired, he wrote me this book, and in it he talks all about BizWorld and his opportunities that he had, and how that was, such a life-changing experience for him too. And I don't know where all of them are. A lot of them still stay in contact with me, but a lot of them have gone on to different colleges and different things. And but I'm really confident that that one memory is probably going to help them throughout their whole life, and that's
Wow.
important.
It's so
So,
important. Siri, thank you for sharing. Wow, how great that first off that your
yeah,
class got that grant and to experience going
yeah,
to Chevron, right? Seeing a real working environment and doing the BizWorld program there. And not only
yeah,
that, this one girl, which you might be surprised, you might not. We hear this exact type of story over and over again, where a
yeah,
student that seemingly was shy or a little different, right? That the teacher maybe was a little worried about through BizWorld, like got brought out of their shell. And in this instance, right, was voted the president or the CEO of her group. And all of a sudden, she's radiating confidence and these
yeah.
abilities in front of venture capitalists. And as you say, it you believe that may have changed her entire life. It really
Well,
allowed her to grow as a person.
I really believe it did. And her family too. Her family was,
Really?
immigrants, and it was just really a special experience to see that. And that's just one case. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw it happen all the time with kids that were part of the program and were especially able to go to Riskmaster and show their companies that they had made. They went on to participate in other programs like the Yes program and different other programs that BizWorld offers. And I where else can they do that? Where else do
Yeah.
they get that kind of encouragement? It's a very unique program, and I'm really grateful for it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sherry. And so let me ask you this. So you just mentioned that, some of them went on to go into the Yes program. And a
Uh-huh.
lot of people don't realize that, our programming and curriculum is sort of built to build on top of each other, right? From starting with BizWorld Pro, or it's going to now be branded into BizWorld Plus, actually, and they're working their way through our other programs like Ideate and Impact Challenge, and then the Yes program, which is more for high school age
Uh-huh.
students, right? Can you sort of explain that a little bit? Like you said that students started in BizWorld, but they sort of advanced up through the Yes program.
Right. We did the impact challenge too with some of the students that wanted to do it. They created bags that were recyclable to uh they called their team the Echo Team, and they created bags to recycle different things in to help save the
So,
planet. And then one girl went on, and she was very tall for her age, and she wanted to create clothing that was easy for tall girls to wear. And so she titled her company, and yes, Be Beautiful, with a bee mascot,
be
or
you. Oh, okay. And a bee mascot as well.
yeah,
Be beautiful.
yeah. And she contacted me when she was in high school and was going through that program, and told me about her endeavor, and asked me to look over some of her marketing
So
things
that
that
was
she
in the Yes
created.
program.
That was in the
Actually, that
Yes program after she'd
wonderful.
left and was in high school. And
Wow.
she's continued on at some prestigious university and has is doing great things, I know. And so, yeah, it doesn't just stop with BizWorld. It can go on. It can inspire kids to think about their futures. And I know my own grandchildren. My grandson goes to U of U and is in business marketing too. And
Right.
he started out being inspired by some of the things, and he started selling cookies in his neighborhood, frozen dough that people could make their own cookies. And that was quite a while ago. And he made a lot of money that summer. I was
Selling
impressed.
cookies.
He's
Wow.
selling cookie dough with a
Cookie dough.
buddy that he'd started his own little business with. So it doesn't just start with and end with string things. It can promote entrepreneurship and thinking outside the box and uh, in lots of different ways. And that's
Once
what I'm
again,
sure
yeah.
Tim Draper wants. So,
Exactly. It is exactly what he wants, right? And I think as I mentioned earlier, it's that, we're teaching these life skills through entrepreneurship learning. And
right,
it's by no means saying entrepreneurship is the way. It's teaching
right,
these skills so that kids can grow and learn and adapt in so many different environments.
absolutely.
What
Yeah.
inspiring stories. Like, Sherry, I always like to ask, right? As an educator, it's easy for me. I'm on the marketing side of things, right? So it's easy for me to understand the benefits and try and convince other educators of like why is it important. What would you maybe say to other educators that they know about BizWorld, but they're on the edge? They're not sure if they should give it a try, if it's too much work. What would you maybe say to them?
I'd say the benefits outweigh any concern. I'd say that it's worth the try, especially if they do it one year and then let their students promote it the next year, because once students buy into it, it becomes their program. It's not a teacher-led program. It's
Yeah.
best when it's a student-led program, when they are so excited about something that they want to take it over and encourage it to go throughout the school, third through fifth grade or third through sixth, and help other children be part of a team, feel included, learn to problem solve, learn to use technology, learn to use their art if that's their strength to promote their product, learn to use manufacturing and engineering skills where they create something. And it doesn't have to just stick with string, it can be lots of things, but at least they've enabled the foundation for any teacher to use it anywhere. And the string is so low cost that it's not an expensive program. It can be done very easily without a lot of expense. And I think it's worth it for students to be involved in something like
Awesome.
that that can benefit their life. It's a memory that they'll create and remember forever.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Thank you.
and I
Thank you so
testify to that because I've had students write me back. The best thing about being in your class was BizWorld. So, so
That's
it's not
really
testifying
unbelievable.
that I'm a great teacher or anything. It's testifying that that's a great program that can help kids
Wow.
learn.
Wow.
So,
Thank you. Thank you so, so much.
yeah.
Um, I want to ask you just a little bit more about your book,
Okay.
honestly, because thank you so much for all this amazing information about BizWorld, and I want to ask you some more about your book also. But before I do, the one other thing that I'm curious about, right, is that you started these after school programs,
Uh-huh.
multiple things, not just through for BizWorld, but that is something that we are trying to promote a little bit more. How, like, what first made you try BizWorld as an after school program? Wasn't it difficult to sort of adapt to that or convince kids, convince parents to do an after school program?
Not at all.
Really?
Because not every teacher is going to do BizWorld in their class or
Uh,
feels like they have time to do something like that, where they need to focus on critical learning skills. So after school, and as I said, it was inspired by my band of string things team, but they especially it whenever a student and the students are excited about something, that's something you want to pursue. And it enabled us to be able to reach out to students of in, of grades 3 through 5 that really wanted to do this, but weren't doing it in their own classroom.
Wow.
And so it enabled us to expand the program to include more students and be able to have some of the students that had done it prior to run the program and act as the venture capitalists, act as those different people that act in a different capacity. So they learned
Yeah,
the whole business plan, not just what their team was doing, but
sure.
they saw a broader view of what business was about and how
Wow,
you needed to be able to think of ways to earn money creatively to be able to even support and start your business
sure,
and different things.
sure.
So,
Wow. Well, that's great. So it sounds like, the students that got to experience it in the classroom talked about it, almost promoted it to other students that then they didn't get a
yeah,
chance to do in the class. And so when they heard about the opportunity, the idea to do this program after school, it seems like it's somewhat sold itself.
yeah. And even in summer school as an enrichment class,
Well,
there was no problem filling that up for students that wanted to do it as an enrichment class
wow,
in the
wow,
summer.
great. Thank you
So,
so much. Thank you so much. So, your book, Fingerprints on the Heart, right? So you said that it's
right.
about kindness, the importance for kindness for kids, and it was inspired by one of your classes and leaving these
Yeah,
fingerprints, right? Great.
yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about that initiative, how the leaving of fingerprints in different areas was inspiring kindness.
So on the back of this little fingerprint that they did, we
Uh,
we wrote a poem that said, "Hands are powerful. They feel when we can't see. They write, they play, they lift, they serve. We want to use our hands to quietly help others. If you receive this art, please find someone to help or be kind to. Give a hand, pass it on." So that was our class that wanted to do something like that. And I've always felt like sometimes students feel enabled, that everyone needs to help them. And if
mm,
they can look outside themselves and help someone else, there's a great need for that. There's a great need to show kindness, to serve others, to reach out and lift other people around you, compliment. There's so many ways to be kind, and I think that that would help the whole world if we could all
mm,
be a little kinder. Just do one kind act a day, like the Semnomni organization promotes. It's just a simple thing to do, and yet it can make a big difference in somebody's life. And so that's what I wanted my students to feel in our classroom, that they were helping each other, that we were showing kindness, that they were showing kindness to their families, to the community, to
mm.
everybody around them. I think it's it's so important for all of us.
It's so, so important. I love that. I couldn't help but like feel a little emotional with you telling that story.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like spreading kindness is so important, and that idea of, a lot of times students think everybody's supposed to be helping them, but all of a sudden when they can learn to help others, it can really, really change everything. Now it was also interesting earlier when you mentioned that the book is somewhat acting like a curriculum in itself. I mean, what are your hopes for how the book is going to impact students and educators?
Well, of course, I'd love it to be in every classroom and every library, but I know that there's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of curriculum and books, but I feel like this book uh really can touch hearts uh and it has a meaning beyond just being kind. It has a meaning that we can learn from our experiences, like the twins learned that they make messes and they have to clean them up. And we all make messes. Sometimes we just have to turn those messes into something good and figure out ways to uh, learn from the challenges that we have. All of us have those challenges. And I think any teacher could use this. I've sent it to my school, and some of the teachers, my colleagues, have used it in their classrooms and sent me pictures of their classes with thumbs up saying that they love the book. So I've been encouraged that maybe at some point it will get into the hands of lots of children and lots of teachers and lots of families and parents, and be something that will encourage everyone to show a little bit more kindness. In the very back of the book,
Mm,
the twins give a lot of ideas about
okay.
ways that they show kindness
Oh,
and
great.
encourage. And then they also create their fingerprint cards and give examples for kids to be able to do it on their own,
Create
so
their
that
own.
they can leave their fingerprints on people's hearts through doing some simple kind act. And that's,
Wonderful. I
yeah.
love that. Sherri, I know you said you self-published. Where if people that are watching, where can they go get the book for themselves?
Well, it's on Amazon.
Great.
It's also the paperback's on Amazon, and I just got the hardback on Amazon. But there's
Wonderful.
also
Great
greatbooksutah.com.
books.
They were one of the first to pick it up, and that's an
Great.
online place to be able to buy it, and it's a little cheaper there, and so
Okay.
uh, it's a good place to purchase the book. So
Great.
that's where it is right now. It's hard to get into bookstores and different
I
things when you're
believe it.
self-published. But I'm still
Sure.
working on another book
Great.
about BizWorld called The
Another
Biz
one.
Game, and about kids. And then I have another middle grade book that's called Gold Pickles, because I write mainly for elementary
Sure.
kids
Sure.
that might enhance curriculum. One of the things
Wonderful.
we learned in California was the gold rush, and Gold Pickles is about the
Oh,
gold
great.
rush. Kids playing a game to win a contest to to find gold in their community of Sonora. But they find more than gold, because they find history and learn things about people's experience with the gold rush that they could never have found if they had lived at that time even. So
Sure. Sure.
that's it's all about reaching out and leaving something for behind us, right?
It
We want
absolutely
we want to
is.
leave
Yeah.
a legacy, and that's
I
probably
think
what I'm trying to do, is leave a legacy for people to find joy in
find
life.
joy in life, spread kindness.
Yeah.
Sherri, thank you. Thank you so much.